Hi, Jake. Hi, buddy. I tried to get him to host the show today. He don't want to do it. He says, "No, you're the host. I'll just sit here." Crafting Journey here. How's everybody doing? I woke up today and I was like, no, no, let me go back to sleep. I liked that dream. Do you have those mornings? I liked that dream. No, I don't want to wake up yet. Oh, well. So, why can't beef stew be a password? Because it's not stroganoff. Okay. Finished Alice in the bottle. Da, 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 da. Here she is. Put a picture over here. I'm going to frame her because I just love it so much. It's a partial. Louis is back. Hi, Louis. Hi, buddy. He just ran behind the car. He's back. My squirrel friend, Louis Carroll. He's out front. He unpacked his bags. He's like, the snow is gone. I'm back. All right. Cut. No. This was one of those days where I just wanted to not wake up. I wanted to stay in that dream. It wasn't a particularly good dream, but it wasn't a bad dream. It was a weird dream. And I wanted to see how it ended. Okay, I already told that horrible joke. Okay. It is National Tortilla Day. Tortilla chips. Yeah, who doesn't love? I love nachos, and so why wouldn't we love tortilla chips? So Alice Lost is what I'm working on now. Today is this afternoon, this evening. What the heck was that noise? Oh, Jake is doing his morning routine. What was I going to say? Oh, Craft With Me Wednesday tonight. Tonight is temperature blanket check-in with Marissa. Craft With Me Wednesday with my collab partner, Crafty Heifer. I have to always think what her name is. Crafty Heifer Marissa and I will be on, and she'll be showing her progress. I'll show you my progress, and please post your progress to hashtag Tempalong2021 or on Instagram, or put a picture in the Facebook group. I would love to show it off tonight. So look what I made. Oh, I'm channeling spring. I wore it. Louis came back. Yes. I mean, it's yarn, but so it doesn't say winter. It says spring. Because I said so. Yes, look. There's a little flower I made, and I put a little brooch. Now, if it comes apart, it's going to stab me right into the brain, and that'll be the end of it. How did she die? She put a brooch in her hat, and the thing came apart, and it stabbed her in the brain. It was the grossest thing. It was on camera, and anyway, and I watched it. Pretty sick, aren't I? So it is National Tortilla Day. It was really made popular back in the 1940s. It came out of LA. What didn't come out of LA? Tiger Woods in one piece, right? He crashes his car in LA. Oh my God, that poor guy. What he has not been through. Holy moly. But back to the tortilla chips. This restaurant was making them, and they were coming out misshapen, so they started putting them in a bag, selling them for 10 cents. That's when they started coming out as triangles, and the rest is history. We slop them in the microwave, put some cheese on them, and call them a football snack. Yay. I love nachos, but I don't go out of my way to make nachos. Like if I'm in a restaurant and it looks good, I'll order some, but if I'm there with a bunch of people and, we need an appetizer, then let's get some nachos. But yeah, that's the story of the tortilla chip. All right, let's diamond paint. What? Okay, let's see what symbol I got out here. Today is brought to you by the number 6. Remember that? Sesame Street. Today is brought to you by the symbol 6. My God. She's lost her mind. Somebody go get her. I have psychotic break right here. All right. I got my notes from the trial, judge, jury, and jury. So, Prokopovitz trial, day 5. What I'm going to put up here is the plot thickens. Let's caption the day by saying the plot thickens, because we're all like, what do they got on this guy? Because so far I'm not convinced. Well, yesterday might have convinced you. I don't know. So they start the day by bringing out a private investigator who was hired by one of the search and rescue companies. He volunteers his time. He's got like 40 years of law enforcement experience. He volunteers his time every now and then to the search and rescue, and the family had called the search and rescue people and said, don't you have any private investigators you can bring in, and we'll figure out if Dad did this thing or not. And so this private investigator, he sits down at the dining room table with the siblings. He gets all the police reports, and he's not sure if he can because, it's an ongoing investigation, and he's really not entitled to it. But the police are very generous, and they're like, no, you can read through this stuff. And he said, he spoke very highly of the police. He said they were doing a fantastic job. They had really tried everything they could think of to find this missing woman. They just didn't, they had done everything. So, to no avail. So he sits down with the family at this dining room table, and he interviews Curly. Now, Curly, I've come to learn that Curly's kind of a wise ass. He is. What is this? I said this was my notes, but it doesn't have anything written on here. Okay. So some of the things that came out during this interview was that Curly would have to coax his wife to leave the house. She was a homebody, and some of us are like that. Hey, I'm happy at home. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't need to go camping or hiking, or you're going to have to convince me that it's really worth my while for me to leave my house, because that's how I am. That's how I roll. Well, apparently, her too. Some of us are just like that. She was a clean freak. She liked her house to be in order. Now, I'm not a clean freak. So, now regarding the pills, the medication, now here's an interesting line of questioning. He's asked about the medication. Now, he says he hands her all her medication. He puts it, or he doles it out. Like, he puts it in one of those Monday through Sunday container. We've all seen those little plastic containers they sell at the drugstore, where you put the Monday through Sunday in it, and then, all she has to do is open it up. If somebody did that for me, I'd be delighted. I used to do it for myself. It was so much work. Now I've gone back to just taking them right out of the bottles. But in any case, he said she was very low on her medication. It all needed to be refilled. Interesting. If that's the case, then there was not enough medication there for her to kill herself. And he says the pills were locked up. He kept all that locked up, although he claims she had access to it. But still, you just told us Curly that the pills were almost gone. You needed to refill them. And he was the one that would go refill them. So I'm going to rule that out. I don't think she overdosed. There's no way that. Um, so that particular day, the doctor's appointment that she had to go to, it was a psychiatric appointment. Now, I cannot wait until they put that psychiatrist on the stand. So he is telling this private detective that when he picked up his wife, she's saying, I didn't like that psychiatrist. Didn't like her. I don't want to go back. So I don't know. I will be interested to see if they put that psychiatrist on the stand. But I didn't like her. I don't want to go back. So he drives her home. And she's like, I want to go get this tablecloth from Target. And he's like, why don't we go to the Dollar Tree later? And I guess, he's saying no, but apparently there was some words about this tablecloth and where to get it. And why in God's name she needed a free... Who uses tablecloths anymore? Tablecloth? Anyway. It's like this woman from a different century or something. I don't know. So he gets home, he gets her home, and he says, I got to go back to work, fill out my timesheets. And it's a Thursday afternoon. He's got, I got to fill out my timesheets, but I'll pick up some chicken from this place called Super Ron's. Apparently they have very good chicken to go. He said, I'll pick up some chicken and potato, and I'll be back for dinner. So he leaves, and he comes back about 5:30, 6 o'clock with the chicken, and they eat chicken, and Wes leaves to go over, he leaves, I don't know what time he leaves, but Curly goes out and he sits in his, his lounge chair, and he watches TV. He's got his beer and he's sitting in his lounge chair watching whatever. Anyway. And then about 8:30, he's like, I love you, I'm going to bed. He said his wife was a night owl. She didn't go to bed with him. He went upstairs, went to bed, and because he has to get up 4:30 in the morning, go to work. He's working man. So so this is all come out by the private detective. So at some point, the private detective says, he clears the room. He's like, could y'all kids go into another room? There's some stuff I want to ask your dad. And, I'd like to do it in private. And they're like, oh, okay, bye. So he asked, now here's where the plot thickens. Now I knew this from reading some extraneous stuff about the case, but I didn't want to tell you guys until it came out at trial. So it comes out about another woman. There's another woman. Who knew? Yes. So he says, so you got another girl. You got a girlfriend. He's like, yeah, I have a girlfriend. Her name is, what was her name? Kathy Friday. Kathy Friday. Yeah, Kathy Friday's my girlfriend. When'd you meet her? Oh, I've known her for 30-something years. But she was in a relationship and I was married, but we've known each other for a long time, and every few years I'd call her on her birthday in May. Her birthday's in May. Every few years I'd call her. Well, apparently it was a little bit more frequent than that they would have these phone calls. But anyway, so he's dating this girl Friday, Kathy Friday. So now the plot thickens. Okay, he's got a little motive to get rid of his wife. So, okay, so we really don't learn much, except that, yes, he's dating Kathy Friday, and they've been dating since shortly after his wife disappeared. But the kids know about it. They know about it. Yeah, I told them. Okay, Curly. So then after that, they bring on the stand the other things that he said was she would go out and wash the car at night. She would clean the house at night. She would go out and do her gardening at night. She would walk around the yard. Sometimes she would leave the yard, but she wouldn't go far. Okay. That is a weird lady, all right? I don't know if I would be out in the middle of the night washing the damn car. Yeah, I'm just saying that. Strange. Okay, so, um, so he admits that over the years he's had regular contact with this woman, Kathy Friday. Um, so they bring on another guy who's like this. I don't know what the technical term for his job is, but he works for the police department and he has learned how to examine cell phones and the records and figure out when calls were made and where they were made from and blah 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 blah. So he examines her phone, and as we suspected, she's not calling anybody. She hasn't called anybody in a long time, except for her husband. It looks like she calls him every day about lunchtime. And then for some reason, he's got two numbers for his wife, the one that was missing, in his phone. So it looks like he wakes up about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. She's not there. Honey, are you coming to bed? Yoo-hoo, downstairs. He doesn't hear anything. So he's like, where is she? So he goes downstairs. She's not there. So he tries to call her. And that is evidenced by the phone records that he does try to call her. He has a call to her on 4:13 a.m. And then at 5:08 a.m. he calls her other two numbers. He's not getting a hold of her. And the calls are going straight to voicemail, which means the phone's turned off. Then at 6:15 and 6:22 a.m., he's trying to find his son. He's calling Wes. Now, we all know that between, that 5:08 call and the 6:15 a.m. call, at some point he's pulling in the driveway and his son is pulling in the driveway, and he tells his son, Wes, Mom's gone. I woke up, she's gone. I can't find her. So he's claimed he was out looking for her. So, but he's also making all these phone calls. Most of them appear to be work related. So he does go to work, and it isn't until 1:03 in the afternoon that he calls the police. Never calls the daughters. He doesn't call the daughters until after he calls the police that afternoon. But in between, he had gone to work. So then they put on the stand, here's where it gets really juicy, Jennifer Friday, who is Kathy Friday, his girlfriend's daughter. So now, if I'm a juror, I'm sitting there thinking, where's Kathy Friday? Where is she? What happened to her? Where is she? And so Jennifer says, well, Kathy Friday's my mother, and they're saying, and she died. Yes, she died. They're not telling the jury how she died. So now the jury's going, whoa, she's dead? How did she die? Oh my God. So here's what I'm thinking happened. I don't know for sure, but I'm fairly certain that prior to the trial starting, there were some motions filing around. And there was probably a motion that said, this can't come in. The fact that, here's what I haven't told you guys. Kathy Friday killed herself. The girlfriend, Curly's girlfriend of 8 years, because he started dating her right after, his wife went missing on April 20, between the 25th and the 26th. She's last seen on the evening of the 25th, the 26th, the morning of the 26th. He wakes up of April, can't find her. The daughter testifies that she sees in her mom's phone records that there's phone calls between him starting May 19th. It hasn't even been 3 weeks since your wife went missing and you got a girlfriend, Kathy Friday. Well, so you can tell from the testimony that they had to dance around the death, that they were not allowed to bring out that this was a suicide, or why she committed suicide, or did she leave it? I'm like, all these questions are going through my mind. I'm a juror sitting there going, how did she die? She was dating this man and she died? Did he do it? Why are they not telling us this? See, now I think it would have been better for them to have told the jury why she wasn't there. But because now the jury doesn't know, but they know she's dead. This is what the jury knows. This guy had a girlfriend that he established within 3 weeks of his wife going missing. And now the girlfriend's dead? Oh, fuck, you're guilty. But that's all they know, because they're like, I'm sure they're sitting there going, why are they keeping this from us? What did he do? Why aren't they telling us why she died? So they go on with this girl's testimony about her mother. Girl, she's in her 40s. And how her mother would go to the casino. They apparently, like, they would go to this casino town every week, spend the night in a hotel, which her mother would pay for, go to this restaurant, which her mother would pay for. And she would spend the night with Curly, and she was all secretive about it. And Curly, you dog, you. That's all I can say. Curly. Holy moly. Anyway, so, and then the other thing that the jury hears is that, okay, this comes out later. So the next witness, well, this was really pretty powerful. Right before the break, the prosecutor asks Kathy Friday's daughter that's on the stand, she said, do you believe, because her and her mother hadn't spoken in years because there was a falling out, because she didn't like the fact that her mother was dating this man whose wife is missing. They haven't found the body, Mom. Aren't you a little worried? So her mom and her didn't talk. So for years, because her mom kept on dating, Curly. And so she gets all emotional, the daughter, and the prosecutor says, do you think, is the reason, she said, is Curly the reason, that you and your mother don't speak? Is the relationship between your mother and this man the reason that you and your mother don't speak anymore? And she's like, 100%. And then she starts crying, and she's looking right at him. And the judge is like, okay, we're going to take a break. Now this woman's sobbing on the stands. So now the jury's going, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. Girlfriend's dead. We don't know why the girlfriend's dead because they're not telling us. Now I got to go on a break because this woman's crying and she's looking right at this guy. Oh, he's guilty. He's guilty. What did he do? What did he do? And the judge says to the jury, okay, here's my admonition. You are not allowed to talk about the case. What? Are you kidding me? She's sobbing and you're not telling me why her mother's dead and you don't want me to talk about it? I think not. So, anyway, they break for 30 minutes, come back, finish her testimony, and not much happens after that, but clearly they are not talking about this death. Prosecution, defense, nobody's talking about how this woman died. So the next person on the stand is it's Curly's sister. She takes the stand. And she said, my brother and I, we had been estranged for years, and then he gets with this Kathy, and all of a sudden, for some reason, they're not estranged anymore. She's friends with Kathy, and everybody's happy. So her testimony focused on, the prosecution said, now, when your father and Kathy were arrested, and now, if I was a juror, I'm sitting there going, arrested? Wait a minute, you're telling me he and the girlfriend are arrested? I wonder why. Because they haven't told the jury. So they say to this woman, when your father and her were arrested, weren't they told by the judge they were not allowed to get in contact with each other? No contact between them. And the girl's like, yes. She's like, but you would go to the jail and he would tell you. We also learned through the questioning that for some reason he stays in jail because he's arrested for the murder of his wife, and she is bailed out. So, but we don't know what she was arrested for. I'll tell you later what they were arrested for, because I know, but the jury doesn't know. Now they're thinking, okay, so she gets out of jail, he's still there. So it comes out that he tells his sister, can you go get Kathy to get me a lawyer? Because Kathy has access to the bank account. So can you go tell Kathy to get me a lawyer? And so that's kind of where that testimony goes. And, tell Kathy I love her. So, and same thing with Kathy. Kathy would say, okay, tell him I've hired the lawyer and blah, blah, blah. And tell him I love him. So clearly there is contact going on between these two. I think that's what that was, to establish that they're still in contact with each other, even after he goes to jail for murdering his wife. But the jury never learns why this girlfriend was arrested in 2018 and why she died in 2020. That's all they know, that she was arrested in 2018 with him, and that in 2020 she's dead. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, the woman killed herself. I don't know why, but she killed herself. Apparently they both lied, and they were arrested. They lied about their relationship and how they actually met. So there's, that raises suspicion that she may have been in on whatever happened to this man's second wife. So, and so interesting. So, oh my God, this is going to go a little bit late today, but guys, so this is so interesting. So the next witness is his first wife. I'm like, oh yeah, let's hear from his first wife. Like, I was on the edge of my seat. I'm like, oh yeah, this should be good. I can imagine the juror was sort of like, this is a banner day. So they're like, oh, this is going to be good. The first wife is on the stand. So clearly through her testimony, we learn that he was abusive. He was abusing her. He would leave marks on her that the public couldn't see, like he would choke her and he would grab her arm. So she was always able to cover up the marks. And no, she didn't report it back then. You didn't report stuff like that. Everybody knew it was going on, but you didn't say anything. Now, I was married pretty much during the same time frame, and I don't agree with that. But this is a small town and in a rural area, so I don't know. But so eventually she leaves him, and she says, I left with the clothes on my back. I had to get out of there. Now he's like furiously passing notes to his defense attorney. He's got the Post-it note, and he's like waving them to, it was a very emotional day for Curly. When the testimony about Kathy was coming out, he was crying. He really loved this woman, I guess, who would have been his third wife. He was very emotional about her. Hasn't shed one single tear for the woman that's missing, that he allegedly murdered. Not one tear. Not one tear. But he was crying because of the Kathy is gone. Yeah, you can see where my mindset is going, and the jury. So, so they bring on the ex-wife. She establishes that he was an abuser. He would spend all the time in the bars, come home drunk every single day, and it was beer. She could smell it. She didn't think it was anything other than beer, but he would come home drunk every day, beat her. But here's what I don't understand. She leaves him because he's abusing her, but she leaves her children, their children, with him. Now, I don't get that. Why didn't you take your kids with you? Now, I don't know how old the kids were at the time. They had been married for 20 years, so I suspect they were teenagers. And I know that when he marries Vicky, the woman that's missing, He brings those children, she brings her children, and all of those children are raised together. So why did that first wife not take her children? So that to me kind of casts doubt on her credibility, because if you're why would you leave your children in a home like that with a man that you despise because he was abusive? I don't know. Who comes home drunk every night. Why would you leave your kids with that? But she did. Um, so I don't know. Maybe we'll learn more about that. But that was yesterday's testimony. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. What a day. And I'm sure that jury, like, they're not supposed to talk about it. They're not supposed to do research on the internet. But I'd be home going, Court TV, Prokopovitz. What happened to Victoria? I'd be looking up Kathy Friday on the internet. who's they're not sequestered, and nobody's ever going to know. And they're not supposed to talk about it with loved ones. I'd be getting home going, hey, honey, to my husband. Hey, what? You are not going to believe what I heard today. Holy shit, this guy has quite a past. Do I think he's guilty? Okay, let's talk about that. If I had to render a verdict now after yesterday's testimony, I'm leaning towards guilty. I really am. They have eliminated every possibility of anything else that could have happened to this woman. And given that he was a drinker, we know that he's not trustworthy. He's got a girlfriend within 3 weeks. He's never concerned about his missing wife. He never searches for her. All these searches are going on, and he's in his lounge chair watching TV. Probably just waiting for the clock to tick so he can contact Kathy Friday and move on with his life. So yeah, I'm leaning towards I am leaning towards guilty. Can you tell? All right, let's talk about this day in history, because I have gone way far afield of the boundaries here. Okay, so February 24th, 1967, Albert DeSalvo. Here's a picture of Albert. Hi, Albert. Escapes from a mental institution. Who is this man? Well, he was captured the next day. Thank you, Jesus. A month earlier, he had been convicted of rape charges unrelated to the strangling, but this was the Boston Strangler. He had strangled 13 women in the Boston area and confessed to it. But he escaped from a mental institution. Ooh, this day in history. So, okay, what's going to happen today on the trial? I don't know. I think it's reaching its climax here. I think so. Also, really interesting, the moderator, what I'm watching is on a live feed. It's on a YouTube live feed. So there's a live chat going on, and there's a moderator. It's called Law and Crime Network. So the Law and Crime Network has assigned a moderator for the chat. And this moderator actually mentioned a fact that I thought was very interesting. She said, all the statistics show that of all murder cases, only 70% of them end in convictions. But in cases where there is no body, like this case, 86% conviction rate. Isn't that interesting? So there's a higher chance you'll be convicted if there's no body. So don't get rid of the body, guys. You stand a better chance of getting acquittal if you don't get rid of the body. Anyway, so that is the show for today, guys. I hope it was entertaining. If you're not into the law thing, I do apologize, but I am really fascinated by the entire thing. So fascinated. And I'm sure the jury yesterday left with their jaw, had to pick their jaw up off the floor before they walked out. And are home going, what just happened? You know, one of those moments where you're like, so I did one trial once where the judge allowed the jury to ask questions. So we would actually present our witness. I would present my witness. I did civil stuff. So my opposition would present. They would do their cross examination, and then the judge would turn to the jury and say, "Okay, any questions?" And they had to write them down. So they would write them down, and the judge would look at them, and he'd go, okay. And if he thought any of them were, they didn't go against any previous pretrial motions or, orders or rulings, he would read them. And some of them were very insightful, some questions. So, and I had questions yesterday. I had a lot of questions, but, and one would be, how did she die? And the judge would have to look at the jury and go, I'm sorry, we're not allowed to talk about that. There's been a prior ruling on that, and I can't ask this question. And they go, oh, okay. All right, so have a great day, guys. I will see you guys tonight, 6 p.m. Central. Craft with me Wednesday. Let's talk about temperature blankets. What is your progress? Please put it in the Facebook group. I'll show it. We're going to see how Marissa's doing on her corner to corner. And I'm going to roll out my blanket's getting so big. Oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do with it over the summer. It's going to be ginormous, but yeah. So, bye. Don't I look cute today? Pretty in pink. See y'all in tomorrow's video. Tomorrow, more curly. Oh, I left my mouse at work. All right, bye. Love you all.